I am a long-distance hiker. One time during one of my hikes out by Nellis Air Force Base, I found a hidden cave. The entrance to the cave was shaped like a perfect capital M.
To most people, the Mojave Desert is an empty wasteland, but it has been home to resilient native communities and caves for thousands of years. The caves in the Mojave have been rumored to be entrances to underground military bases, but not all of them. Some of these caves are homes to portals to different places on Earth or dimensions. These dimensions are rumored to be home to aliens or people on a parallel Earth. Many explorers have entered these caves and have felt their bodies vibrating, and some have entered into those caves, never to return. Kenny Veach entered into one of those caves, and for years no one knew what happened to him. Until now, looking for Cave M. Kenny Veach loved to hike, but he was much more than a hiker. He was a thrill seeker. He enjoyed the danger, the heat from the blazing Mojave Desert, and the accomplishment of going on a hike with very minimal resources. Kenny could walk for miles with just a bottle of water and a chocolate bar. For Kenny, hiking was a way of life, and in 2014, he celebrated his 20th anniversary by going on a dangerous hike.
I solo hike across mountaintops that most people wouldn't dare go. I have been in more caves than I can count. I play with rattlesnakes for fun.
This hike wasn't like the others. This one could end his life. Kenny Veach was passionate about UFO sightings and believed that the United States government was hiding details about aliens in the notorious Area 51 military base. Kenny wanted to explore this base, but the United States government was ruthless against hikers who trespassed. Kenny Veach didn't want trouble, but he still decided to hike around the Nellis Air Force bombing range, which was close to the Area 51 complex. During his hike, Kenny started feeling strange. Fear consumed him, and his body began to vibrate. He walked around, and the feeling got worse. Although Kenny packed light for this trip, just as he did for his other trips, he wasn't hungry or thirsty. This was something else, something dark. Kenny Veach looked around and found out that the strange feeling of uneasiness was coming from a cave shaped like M. Kenny, who also explored caves, continued to feel a great sense of danger as he walked towards that cave. It felt like something was inside it, ready to pounce on him. What could have caused this exact feeling? Kenny didn't have anything to defend himself with, so he backed away from this M-shaped cave and walked away. He didn't plan to return or even tell anyone what he experienced. Then he saw a video on YouTube. This video talked about the Pentagon's refusal to release information about UFOs and alien sightings. Kenny was just mildly interested, but when the video talked about how the government was testing a new energy source in Area 51, something sparked inside him. Kenny was sure that what he experienced around that cave was related to this experimental energy source. Feeling like an expert in this discussion, Kenny shared his experience like the other people who watched the video. However, instead of support. What Kenny got was criticism. People called him a liar and told him that he was probably feeling hunger or thirst. They even said the heat from the sun could have been affecting him. This broke his heart. Kenny had no reason to lie. He had been hiking all his life and would know when he was hungry, thirsty, or getting a sunstroke. More people began to pile on him, and Kenny defended himself. He insisted he wasn't making things or seeing things because he was hungry. Then, in the heat of the moment, and with the burning desire to shut down his critics, Kenny made a declaration. He was going to return to the spooky cave. Some of the other commenters cheered him on. They were genuinely curious about what he discovered, and they would welcome proof. Was Kenny going to do the impossible? Would he find out the well-hidden secrets of Area 51? Encouraged by the positive comments, Kenny Veach bought the supplies he needed and took his camera with him. Then he did something else. something he had never done on his hikes. Kenny got a gun. But there was a problem. Although at this time, Kenny didn't know he had one yet.
And I'm looking for a cave that I found, and I didn't have a sidearm when I was here before. I mean, it's shaped like a big M. It's a big cave that looks just like a gigantic M.
Kenny began his journey and documented every part of it. He pointed out landmarks in the video. One of them was an abandoned mine shaft, which he used as a point of reference for where the M cave would be. In the video he made, Kenny described the cave as having an entrance as tall as he was, but also narrow. He was excited by the thoughts of discovering the mysteries of the government in Area 51. Later on, when talking about the entrance of the cave, Kenny said it was level to the ground, and he didn't want to miss it. So, which was it? Was the entrance tall and narrow, or low to the ground? This was Kenny's problem. He had forgotten key details about the cave. He remembered the scary feeling he felt more than accurate details about the cave instead. Could Kenny's experience have interfered with his memory? Could the cave have really been a secret site for an experiment in alternative power sources? Veach continued his search, braving the uncertainties of the harsh Mojave Desert. More Cave M search. Unfortunately, Kenny didn't find the cave. The cave area was too much ground for him to cover alone. Many questions went through his mind. Did he miss the cave during his search? Or did he make a mistake with the location? Disappointed in not finding the cave, Kenny Veach returned to YouTube and made a video where he announced that he couldn't find the cave. Despite this disappointment, he wasn't about to give up, and he declared that he was going to return to search again. However, this time, Kenny got a warning. A person who watched his video warned him not to return. He told Kenny if he found the cave, he would be trapped there forever. This comment spooked Veach, and he immediately asked the person who made the comment to give details. The person didn't reply. Veach should have listened, but he didn't. He decided he was going to find that cave, no matter what. So, Veach prepared again, and told his loved ones that he was going for a short overnight trip. However, this time, something was different, but no one could explain it. Kenny Veach took his gun and a cell phone with him, but he left something behind, and this thing was crucial to his hike. Armed with his gun, Kenny Veach returned to the Mojave Desert on November 10, 2014. He went to the mine shaft he went to on his previous trip to the desert. Everything seemed normal at first, but after a few days, his family contacted the police. They couldn't reach him. He wasn't picking his phones and hadn't returned. This was different from all the other trips he had been on. Immediately, the police organized a search and rescue party. The Mojave Desert was rough, and people getting missing was completely part of it. However, the search and rescue team always found these missing people whether dead or alive, but they couldn't find Kenny. They searched for days and even went through the mine shaft that Kenny mentioned earlier. The search found something in that shaft, but it wasn't Kenny Veach. What they found was his phone. It wasn't scratched or broken. The phone was in perfect condition with the battery full. It was almost like Kenny Veach himself carefully placed the phone in the mine shaft, or worse, someone else did that for him. The big question on everyone's lips was, where is Kenny Veach? Who is Kenny Veach? Kenny Veach was predictable, but not always. He worked the same service technician job for a coffee company until he quit the job in 2013. He had been dealing with feelings of being stuck, and he was getting really depressed. So he decided to make money doing the things he loved. Kenny loved art and tried to make some artwork, but these didn't get attention. The same thing went for his other things that he tried. Nothing seemed to work, but Kenny was a stubborn guy. He kept on doing what he loved, but there was a problem. Kenny wasn't making money. He had other problems too, but I'll mention that later on. Kenny didn't take drugs and wasn't an alcoholic. When things felt too out of control for him, he did what he loved to do best: hiking. Hiking was his way of forgetting everything, and sometimes he did it with his girlfriend, Sherion. Other couples went on fancy dates or saw a movie, but he and his girlfriend braved the wilderness. His love for hiking made him open a YouTube channel, which he named Snake Bit Mickey. It was on this channel that he posted his failed attempt at looking for the Cave M. On the channel, he also talked about aliens, UFOs, Area 51, human beings going to space to explore other planets, and conspiracy theories. The idea that there's more to this universe, the possibility of extraterrestrial life out and within the planet, it's all exciting and distracting. However, unfortunately for Kenny, not only would he not see the groundbreaking efforts human beings have put into space exploration, he would also become the subject of conspiracy theories. Is he dead? Is he alive? No one knows, and since then, people have been curious. But now, there is an answer to what happened to Kenny Veach, and it's not looking good. Searching for Kenny Veach. New discoveries. The authorities weren't willing to give up on the search for Kenny. They even got air support to look for him, but they couldn't find any clue to where he was. No backpack, no water bottle, and no footprints. If Kenny was attacked by someone or something, there should be traces of a struggle. Yet there was nothing. Unfortunately, after searching for weeks without finding him, the worst had to be assumed. Kenny Veach was declared dead. However, many people didn't think that the search should be called off. Dead or alive, Kenny had to be found so his family could have closure. They even blamed the search party for not paying full attention during the search. People suggested that the search party should have also focused on areas where vultures were circling. They claimed that these vultures could be a great pointer to where Kenny was in case of an attack. Different theories emerged on what happened to Kenny. Some said Veach saw criminal or military activity that he shouldn't have seen. According to new discoveries by YouTuber Aquachigger, there are man-made objects around the Mojave Desert Kenny hiked through. One of these objects are metal pipes, which look like the frame of a tent. Did someone camp there? It wasn't only the metal frames that were there. Someone was in the area, but we'll get to that later on. Another theory said Kenny must have been attacked by mountain lions, which are capable of killing without spilling blood. However, in recent findings, the area Kenny explored was one of the harshest places in the desert. Only extreme hikers or people that had a death hiked through it. Did Kenny have a death wish? Some people suggested Kenny had been kidnapped by aliens that escaped from Area 51, and according to veteran Charles James Hall, this might not be far from the truth. Hall claimed he worked in different military bases around Nevada in the 60s, and revealed that the United States not only knows about the existence of aliens, but also cooperates with them. So, did one of these aliens escape and attack Kenny Veach? Or did he finally go into the cave and found a secret base? It's also possible that Kenny Veach was harmed by operatives connected to Area 51. The U.S. federal government owns roughly 85% of Nevada, including numerous secured assets, many of which are completely off-limits to the public, like the infamous Area 51. Anyone who gets close to the base quickly realizes they're being watched, usually by men in military uniforms driving white pickup trucks. And when someone dares to cross even slightly into the restricted zone, all hell breaks loose. Area 51 personnel respond instantly and ruthlessly. You don't want to mess with the personnel guarding Area 51. These guys aren't just tough, they're unsettling. They are spirits without a home, ghosts in plain sight. Their uniforms are completely stripped of identity. No name tags, no rank insignia, no branch markings, nothing. You see them, but you don't know who or what they really are. One thing's certain, They're experts at keeping people out or making them disappear. New discoveries showed that drones patrol the skies of Area 51 and around it. It is a security measure to make sure that they can see an attack come and prevent it. Does this mean they saw Kenny Veach and considered him a threat because he was holding a gun? Aqua Chigger isn't done. He found another thing that showed Veach wasn't alone, and he wasn't the only one. Some professional hikers drawn to danger set out to find answers, and one of them, a YouTuber named Sean Neil Horlicker, may have uncovered something. Following in Veach's exact footsteps, Horlicker parked where Kenny did and traced his path through the desert. Then, deep in the Mojave, he stumbled upon a cave. It looked strange, suspicious, and yes, it was shaped like an M. But this one seemed partially collapsed, almost sealed by nature or something else. Could this be the same cave that made Kenny's body vibrate? Did Area 51 cover it up because Veach went missing and he was bringing too much attention? Horlicker explained that the rocks weren't natural to that cave and looked like someone had moved those rocks there to cover the mouth of the cave. What really happened to Kenny Veach? Turned out even Kenny Veach walked past that rock and didn't know it was it. He didn't expect that it would be covered up because he was looking for something else. Sean Horlicker left the mouth of the cave, and just as he did, his body started vibrating, and a wave of nausea so terrifying hit him. When Sean couldn't bear it anymore, he vomited. Did this happen to Sean because he stood at the mouth of the mysterious cave M? If so, why didn't Veach feel that same way when he walked past? Was it because he didn't go up close to the cave? What Kenny Veach and Sean Horlicker experienced around that cave sounded eerily similar to something known as Havana Syndrome, a strange and unexplained illness that first struck American diplomats in Cuba. People began falling sick for no clear reason. The U.S. accused Cuba of using secret weapons that emitted focused sound or energy waves, waves that could pass through the skin and cause intense physical distress. But just as an official investigation was about to begin, the symptoms vanished. As if someone flipped a switch. Another YouTuber claimed he received a tip from someone in the military. A cave. A strange shape. He went looking and found it. And yes, it was shaped like an M. However, something was off. Unlike Kenny and Sean, this explorer felt nothing. No nausea, no vibrations, no discomfort. Just silence. Still, he didn't leave empty-handed. Inside the cave, he found odd remnants. There were some old wood, a discarded bottle, and something far more chilling, a hidden sign. One of those unmistakable warnings. Area 51, keep out. Creepy, right? So was this the M cave? Or just another dead end? We may never know, because when the YouTuber returned, a fresh Area 59 warning sign had been placed directly in front of it. So he couldn't even get close. Odd, isn't it? How did he even get that close in the first place? Was security asleep, or was someone watching, curious to see what he'd find? And the bigger question is, why would Area 51 suddenly classify a random cave as off-limits? Was this the place where Kenny Veach disappeared? Some believe so, but Kenny's girlfriend doesn't. In fact, she shared a darker, more tragic story. According to her, Kenny had been spiraling. His financial troubles, failed ventures, and his debt kept piling up. The bank was also closing in on his foreclosing. Desperate, Kenny tried to sell the home, offering to stay on as a caretaker. A strange deal, but maybe the cry of someone who felt he had no options left. She said he wore a smile, but it wasn't real. He told her things he didn't tell anyone else. He told her how his father died by suicide. Sherian feared Kenny had done the same thing. She also noted when he left for the desert, he brought his gun, but not his camera. Also, she revealed something chilling about the whole thing when authorities later searched Veach's laptop for clues. What they found was shocking. They saw a document filled with the same phrase over and over: "Help me." So did Kenny Veach take his own life? Or is there something far more sinister at play? Is something buried in that desert? There could be. What really happened to Kenny Veach? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And as always, see you in the next video.